topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Welcome to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV, where we bring you educational information from top local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Now sit back and listen to experts in family law, association law, hearing loss, business brokers, home care, along with many other topics. Now here are your hosts, Steve-O and Sophia.
Good morning, Tampa. Welcome to another Ask the Expert show, where we bring you the top experts in the field of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. I am your host, Steve-O, and we've got such a great show for you today. I got to tell you, I was knowing that we're doing this show this morning. I went back and I was listening to some of their past shows. This is our wealth management show with Provise Wealth Management. And I got to tell you, I think I've got a new name for our expert, Ray Ferrara. I went back and from past shows and things that he told us were probably going to happen in the market all came through. And I was like just blown away. Not that I was surprised, because I know how good Ray is, but I mean, for a person to have that kind of insight on what's going to happen, let me welcome you to Ray Ferrara. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Steve, and happy Monday. And can you believe it? March. What happened to January and February?
Ray, that is funny. I've been telling Sophia, like, what is going on? Everything is moving so fast, and it's just amazing. But I had to get that in this morning because I went back and looked at a lot of your shows and things that you were talking about, because we do talk about things that could be happening in the future, and you are right on.
Well, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and let's admit that there's a little bit of luck in some of that, and hopefully there's a little expertise mixed in there as well.
Yes, you do know the market. Hey, Ray, I'm really surprised we get these emails now. People I was going through some of the programs on your show, and I ran into your wealth management show, and I'm really enjoying it. So we're finding out that we're getting new people every week. Tell people about your Provise Wealth Management.
Steve, Provise is a financial planning and investment management firm with the emphasis on financial planning. We see investing as a subset of an overall financial plan. And as a result, we've got 14 advisors, all of whom have their CFP designation, Certified Financial Planner designation. And our emphasis is on the planning side, not the investment side. Now, make no mistake, as of the end of last year, we were managing $1.8 billion on behalf of our roughly 1,200 clients in 34 states. But again, it's all individual. There's no cookie cutters. We're looking at people through the lens of their financial plan. And we have offices in both Clearwater and Tampa, and we always provide a 1-hour free consultation in either of our two offices, or if it's more convenient, we'll be happy to do it via Zoom. We always give that 1 hour and welcome anyone to give us a call at the numbers you see scrolling across the bottom, or going to our website at provise.com, PROVISE.com.
For those who are listening to the podcast or listening on radio, the number is 727 441 9022. 727 441 9022. Ray, let's just jump into it. It seems like with most of the major equity markets are all at an all-time high. What should an investor who has cash do, or should they wait for the pullback? Should they jump in? What should they do?
Well, at the moment, we have experienced significant growth in the equity markets coming off of what was the low last October. Clearly surprising everyone in how strong the economy had been, and hence how strong the markets have been. And our philosophy is regardless of whether the market is very high or the market is very low, we believe in the principle of dollar cost averaging. And that simply is taking the same number of dollars every month and investing into the market, buying an average over some extended period of time, anywhere typically from 6 to 12 months. So if someone had, let's say, $500,000 and it was all in cash at the moment, they got a big bonus, whatever it may have been, we would probably suggest that they be investing $50,000 to $75,000 a month for the next 6 to 10 months, slowly easing into the market and buying an average over time. Now, lots of people will tell you that just jumping in at any point in time works because the market is up two times out of every 3 times that we look at it. 2/3 of the time, the market is moving in an upward direction on a year-by-year basis. And so they would say, it doesn't make any difference, just pile in. But what we have found is psychologically, people feel a lot more comfortable just kind of dipping their toes into the market rather than jumping in here at the high of all markets and watch for a pullback to immediately occur after they do it. They're just going to feel really bad about it. And the good news is if they've dollar cost averaged in and the market goes up, they're participating in that with part of their money. But if the market goes down, they're only participating with a small amount of their money, and they're able to continue to buy as the market is going down. And of course, it's always better to buy cheap than it is to buy expensive. So that's why we like to have the dollar cost averaging. Sleep at night, and you get to buy an average over a 6 to 12 month period of time.
I got to tell you, I get inundated by people wanting me to get into the crypto market. And it seems like it's the biggest rage right now. The new exchange traded funds make it easier than ever to get into it. What is your advice on buying cryptocurrencies?
Without any equivocation, we are not crypto fans. Let me make it very clear. We are not crypto fans. If someone, and I'll explain why in just a moment, but if someone feels like they just have to participate in it, do so with a very modest amount of money, what I would refer to as your Las Vegas money, money that you can afford to lose. Right now, crypto has had a significant comeback from where it was late last year and early this year. But the interesting thing is, as good as crypto has been over the last couple of months, it's very close, but it has yet to exceed its previous price of about $66,000 for a coin. The reason, Steve, that we don't look at crypto as any significant asset class for our clients, and when we do put it into our client's portfolio, it's at their request, not because we're putting it in there. And when we do it, we set it on the side because we don't want to take responsibility for it, whether it goes up or it goes down. We don't want the responsibility for it. And clearly, you would have made a lot of money over the last couple of months. But if you look at it, it went from roughly 66,000, down to about 14,000, and now it's back up to about 65,000. And clearly these new exchange traded funds, ETFs, have spurred more interest in crypto. It's easier to buy and easier to sell than it once was. But when you buy one of the exchange traded funds, you're really not buying one of the coins. You're buying a proxy for it. But you will participate in either the gains or the losses, but not to the same extent that you probably would if you owned the coin itself either way. But here's why we don't like it. It's an investment that produces zero. The beauty of that investment is in the total eye of the beholder. And I can go back historically to share lots of crazes over the years that were turning out to be phases, and people ended up losing a lot of money. And when something like crypto, which has a limited supply, not even gold has a limited supply. When it has a limited supply and people are willing to buy it, then the price is going to go up. But we'll go back to the Dutch tulip craziness back in, I think it was the 1600s or early 1700s, when everybody was buying tulips because the price of tulips were going up until they weren't. The second thing is because it produces nothing, it gives us no dividend at all. And as you know, we are value investors, and we like stocks that provide part of their profits back to the shareholders in the form of dividends. And it provides nothing. And so when it's purely what's in the eye of the beholder and it's a traded commodity that an investment that somebody has made up, we just don't see people putting money, their serious money, into those kinds of investments. Now, let's be fair. Everybody today who owns the coin is going to say they got in at 14 and they're going to get out at the top of the market and then get back in when it goes back down. Can't do it, Steve. Can't time the market. Can't trade it. Just, again, if you have to own it so that you can be proud of yourself to owning Bitcoin or any of the other cryptocurrencies, buy 1-2% of your portfolio. As I said, your Las Vegas money.
Okay. Hey, we always are talking about, it seems like, these bills, these funding bills, looks like they just kicked the can again down the road for another week.
They sure did. And over yesterday, as a matter of fact, they brought out the text of the funding for 6 of the 12 agencies, representing just a little under $500 billion, $500 billion of funding. Congress has 72 hours. The House has 72 hours to review the bill. And so we will expect to vote on these at the end of the week sometime, probably on Thursday, maybe Friday. And it's likely to pass on a bipartisan basis, but there's still going to be some strong opposition from the conservative Republican side and maybe a few of the Democrats as well. But at the end of the day, funding the operations of the government for a short and long-term basis for investors is a good thing, not a bad thing. The tough part is that the rest of the agencies, including the Department of Defense bill, must be done by March 22nd. And that's going to be a little bit tougher to do because, of course, it's going to get wrapped up with the conflict that's going on in Ukraine and the conflict that's going on in Gaza, and what funding may be available or not to both of those situations. So, from an investor point of view, this is a good step forward. A shame that we have to be 6 months into the fiscal year before you have a budget. I mean, what's a budget for? It's to keep you on track.
Yeah,
well,
right.
Half the year's gone and you're not on track because you don't have anything to keep track of. But that's our government. That's the way it works today. So hopefully they get the rest of it taken care of. And that anxiety will get removed from the market when that happens, which will be a positive for the rest of the year. Not in and of itself, but it just takes that uncertainty away because the shutdown doesn't serve anybody well.
So you don't think there'll be any kind of a shutdown?
I do see it now. I've told you before, back in December, I think they'll go right to the brink, and there could be a shutdown.
Yeah.
But they'll probably, kick the can down the road, as you commented on earlier, and that's what they've done. This time, I think on this bill, they will pass it, and then they can concentrate on the other 6 agencies that are left.
You know what I don't understand, Ray, is if no one believes that they're going to shut the government down, that seems like that's their only bargaining chip. So how do they get anything done?
Well, I think clearly they have bargained as a result of the threat to shut down the government. The bills that are being introduced, or the bill that's being introduced at this point for the 6 agencies, is basically a flat bill for the current year, which means they're going to have to spend the same money in the 24 fiscal year as they spent in the 23 fiscal year. And we all know what inflation is. And so if you look at it in that way, this bill is really providing about 4% less funding ability than we had in the previous year. And clearly it's $70 billion less than what the president was asking for. So they did gain some concessions, not as much as they wanted, perhaps, but they certainly had an effect. Clearly, we can no longer continue to spend money that we don't have. There was a report that came out from the Congressional Budget Office early last week, that basically said that if we continue at our current pace, that our deficit, which is at roughly $33 trillion right now, up from about $8 trillion only 20 years ago, that it will increase by almost another $20 trillion over the next 10 years. And we simply can't afford that. And, Steve, the unfortunate part is with the government, there's only 2 ways you can solve the problem: raise taxes, cut expenses, or both. And what a novel idea when you're spending more money than you have. Think about it in terms of financial planning. Think about it in terms of family finances. All of us, that's all we can do is cut expenses and try to make more money. Everybody says, well, that makes a lot of sense, but just don't cut the expenses that affect me, and don't raise my taxes. Don't raise my taxes, raise the other gals' taxes, and so we're all in favor of knowing what we need to do, as long as it doesn't affect us.
Right, exactly. I was talking to my brother-in-law the other day, and he is a doctor getting ready to retire. And he was telling me, he said the best decision he ever made in his life, he's in Dallas, that he hired a financial planner. And he said, if I would have tried to do this myself, there is no telling where I would have been. And he spoke so highly of financial planning. What's the best way for someone to find a good financial planner?
Well, Steve, first of all, I'm very partial towards the Certified Financial Planner designation, the CFP designation, as you see after my name. And I have been a CFP since 1990, and had the good fortune to serve on the financial planning board of Standards, on their board of directors for a number of years. And in fact, in 2014, I was the chair of the CFP board. So I'm going to admit my partiality. You can go to cfpboard.org or to fpa.net. That's for the Financial Planning Association. And both of them have find a planner in your area for you to research. When you go there, don't just pick the name that's closest to you. We strongly recommend that you interview at least 2, and better to do 3 CFP professionals, because what you want to look for is someone who has a good table side manner. When we have a doctor, we want one that's got a good bedside manner, somebody who's compassionate, somebody who's going to spend some time with us, somebody who's going to explain things to us, not somebody that says, oh, I know what's best for you, Steve. Just sit back and relax and I'll take care of it. That's not what we're looking for in either a doctor or in a financial professional like a CFP. And then look for the one with whom you relate and who relates to you the best with the credential of having the CFP designation. And again, let me just repeat that. Go to cfpboard.org or fpa.net, and you can go to find a financial planner.
Tell us how you started Provise. I mean, you've become one of the largest registered agents. How did you get in that investment advisory and financial planning with your firm? How did you make it to? I mean, you've got just such an incredible reputation, Ray.
Well, Steve, thank you. When I started Provise, I was working with a corporate financial firm here in Clearwater, and I could see the handwriting on the wall that the chairman and I didn't see eye to eye on a number of different issues. And I knew it was only a matter of time until he would fire me, which he did on April Fool's Day. Fortunately, I had, honest to God, that was the day he did it. And I didn't think it was a joke, by the way, Steve.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But I had set Provise up in anticipation of that, because what was I going to do? So, back to being an entrepreneur as I was prior to that. But when I go back to, I'd like to think that I was, going to build this great big firm, but that's not what I had envisioned at all. And it's happened one client at a time. Amazing people to help me throughout the years, improvise our team, just an incredible group of people over the 38 years that we've been in business. And something like this doesn't happen because of one person. It happens because there's a lot of great people that are helping clients and working with them. And that's how we did it. And, proud of what we've built and that we continue to build each and every day.
Well, you have built an amazing company, Ray. I know we here at Ask the Experts are so blessed to have you as our expert. You're with us twice each month, and not next week, but the following week, you'll be back with us. Let's tell everybody how they can reach you. Your phone number is 727-441-9022 for those who are listening on radio or the podcast. Tell everybody your website address also.
It's provise.com. Very simple. Provise. And, a lot of people ask, how'd you come up with that name, Provise Management Group? Well, originally I wanted it to be Provisor for professional advisor. But someone here in the state of Florida objected to it, that it was too close to their name. So I thought, well, how about a professional advice? We'll call it Provice. And then I thought, no, vice and money, that's not a good idea. Yeah. So we came up with Provise as a compromise, and management group, because we didn't want to call it Provise Investment Company, because investing is only part of what we do. Our emphasis is on financial planning. And again, anyone who wants to give us a call at 727-441-9022, or they can go through our website, provise.com, is entitled to a complimentary 1-hour consultation with us in our Clearwater or Tampa office, or by Zoom, if that's more convenient for them. There is no obligation, there is no cost, and just an opportunity to meet and to listen to whatever your situation is And if we can help, we will. And if we can't, we'll be sure to refer you to someone that we think who can.
And you've also got that great newsletter too.
We do. We call it the Provise Perspectives. Goes out twice a month to our clients, and we talk about changes in tax law. We talk about economic conditions. We talk about the markets. We got a lot of human interest things that are in there for people to ponder and to be thinking about. So, and we get great compliments on it. Right now, we've got about 6,500 subscribers to the newsletter, and be happy to add many more if people have an interest. And again, either call our offices at 727-441-9022 or simply go to provise.com.
Well, Ray, it's so obvious you put a lot of time and effort to that newsletter. Again, Ray will be back with us again in 2 weeks. Ray, as always, thank you so much.
Take care. Have a great week, Steve.
You too, bud. That's Ray Ferrara, Provise Wealth Management. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we've got our show on auto accident injuries. We'll see you again next week with more Ask the Experts. We'll be right back.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert show on W4CY Radio and Talk4 TV. Tune in next week and every week to hear more from our experts on personal injury, insurance, air condition repairs, estate planning, Medicare, and many other topics in the areas of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. See you next week.